org. This is DJ Psycho Eddie, and I'm looking around the room at a full house here tonight. As usual, on the board.
There's a whole lot of sexy in this room tonight.
On the soundboard, we have Mr. Tony.
Repeat offender.
You are in the illustrious group of people who showed up more than once.
There goes the duck.
And yes, Tony has probably just crapped himself.
Let's just say that we were served beans tonight, and I'll leave it at that.
Hey, I'm going to blame my wife on that. I'm sorry, food services for that. Well, Rob's got a lot to talk about. He's got a whole concert series coming up. But before we hit that, there's a couple of things I got to talk about. First thing, of course, is food because I'm fat. Brunch. Everyone loves it. No one wants to admit to it.
I admit it.
I love it.
Well, I went out to the Treehouse Tavern. It's right over here in Warwick, right on 117. Great little place. Now, first off, drinking with breakfast is always recommended. I had the I'll get back to the beverage.
Hasn't been that long of a night, has it?
I'm
It's
only
all
halfway
late,
through my first beer, and I'm already forgetting stuff. They had a manmosa, not a mimosa, which is made with champagne. A manmosa, which is made with a white beer, similar to like a UFO, unfiltered white beer, with the I think it was peach in there. I couldn't tell. All I could taste was the beer, and it was really good. I also had smoked salmon eggs Benedict.
Nice.
So yeah, it was really good. They did a hot smoke instead of a cold smoke, so it was fully cooked. The fish, you're not eating sushi. So I know there's a few people in this room that don't go for the raw fish. Not going to mention any names.
Don't know what you're missing.
Yeah, I know. I go for it. I have to tell you, I love sushi too, but that's another story. No, that's one of several places I've been to. I'm going to save the rest for the next time because I have 2 Uber stories. One really bad and one really good. Now, it's up to you guys. I want to take a show of hands. Who wants to hear the bad one first? Who wants to hear the good one? Bad one?
Bad.
Definitely the bad.
Definitely
All right,
bad.
first.
Actually, radio protocol says save the bad one.
Save the bad one?
I mean, that's typical tease.
I figure you always get the worst over with first.
Yeah, but the
Well,
worst.
okay.
But in this case, the worst is the best. That's why you save it till
Well,
last. One of the
well, no.
first things. Huh?
Well, no.
No.
The bad revolves around possible homicide. The good revolves around naked chick.
How about a possible homicide of a naked chick? Can we work them together?
That's on your show.
Excuse me. Coming up next. Ed, it's your call.
Okay, we're going to go with the bad first. Of course, being an Uber driver, I was going through some neighborhoods which are not the most savory. I was going through the south side of Providence. About 3 o'clock in the morning, I get called. I get over to the location just in time. You know the swallows when they're migrating through the air and it looks like the waves in the
That
air?
big cloud of.
Well, at 3 o'clock in the morning, there's a wave of...
It'd be bats at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, there were bats involved, also rakes and a
Chains
bunch of
and-
other stuff. Now, I didn't know there was a migrant, gardening baseball team going through South Providence at the time, but there had to be about 50 people running across the street one way, then they go back the other way, and while all this is going on, I'm a little bit back, 2 guys jump into my truck really quick. Guy says, "My name is," which would match the name.
Yeah.
"Get out of here now. Run people over if you have to."
Oh.
That's usually a hint that I might want to get out of there in a hurry.
Right then. Yeah.
So I hit the gas. I'm not saying I did for sure, but there was a possibility 1 or 2 people might have bounced off my mirrors. And I got the hell out of there just in time to start hearing pop, 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 pop.
Oh.
No one's making popcorn. It sounds. It was the very unique sound of a 9mm in the background. I looked up in the rearview mirror as I'm doing about, we'll call it a little bit over the speed limit. So if any law enforcement are listening, I don't get a ticket. As I look up in the rearview mirror, I told them, if there is a hole in my truck, I'm beating you, throwing you under the tires, and running you the F over. No problem. Well, I got out of there far enough. I took a turn, so I'm not line of sight, line of shot. Get out, look at the back of my truck. No holes. We're good. So, take him the rest of the way. The guy was so happy to get out of there. Number one, he tipped me quite well. And the whole way, "Oh, man, thank you so much. Thank you so much." Even his friend, who didn't say a word because I think shell shock or whatever, but even his friend was getting out of the truck, handing me another $5 bill. I was like, "Yeah, he didn't give you enough. Didn't give you." Like, "All right, you guys just made my night. Thank you for not getting killed." So that's the first story.
All right, but now you realize that story might not have ended. I mean, you realize that there was about 50 people. It's kind of like the climactic scene in a Frankenstein horror movie when the angry mob with the torches and the weapons are in pursuit. Now, if they had noticed your license plate, that gang of 50 armed pursuers may be after you to this day, and we're getting under the table.
I'm going to put it this way. Judging by the way the crowd looked, I don't think any of them could have read my license plate.
Okay. And they were probably satisfied by eventually catching up with the...
Would you put your head up to look at a license plate while gunshot is going off? No, I would be ducking for cover. I don't care who the hell's driving through. That's me personally.
And after all that, it was still better than taking a fare to TF Green Airport.
So that's story number one. Story number two, things just happen almost poetically. I pull up, I'm driving in Newport now. A lot of rich people, a lot of girls with very little clothing and compromised moral standards. You know, the usual.
Newport, yeah.
So I pull up, One Pelham Place, and as I pull up, I see this girl walking on high heels with a mini skirt tube top combo one-piece dress. Now, she's walking like Bambi on the ice in high heels.
Strappy heels.
I really wasn't paying attention to the heels.
That's the most important thing to observe.
Well, I noticed when she went down, it looked like Flipper hitting the water because she never put an arm out. She just face planted right onto the cobblestones on Thames Street. When she hit the ground, I guess there was enough of a force that the top went down, the bottom came up, and her dress turned into a belly band.
Nice.
There was, I guess she was poor because she couldn't afford undergarments. So here's this girl laying on the cobblestones. Got to be 50 people around her. No one's helping her up, but everyone's looking. Now, the part that's hilarious for me is she is literally perfectly lined up with my headlights, and I have my video camera rolling at all times.
Now, unless she moves, that's only good for about 2 minutes of video, right?
No, it's constantly recording. So I got the whole drop, get up.
Oh, the whole face. Oh, she
full,
did get
full
up.
face plant. Oh, yeah, she did get up.
That's my question. In other words, she just laid
She
there.
was absolutely hammered, but she got up. Her two friends helped her up, stretched out her clothing to cover up appropriately again. And then I'm just looking at it, I'm like, that's going to be my ride.
That's when you have to cue up that old Partridge Family song, I Think I Love You.
Sure enough, that was my ride. That was not only was my ride, that was the girl who called for me. So,
She was coherent.
she was coherent enough to press, get me home on an Uber, but was not with it enough to realize that, put your hands out when you fall, or if your clothes fall off, you're supposed to put them back out.
Well, you know what it is. She was probably so used. She's probably one of these smartphone bimbos that are so focused on their smartphone that they don't notice the obstacle ahead of them and go face down a lot. So she was probably so trained in landing on her face that, and nobody cares about her face anyway because it's her body. Everybody's into it.
Yeah, I didn't notice if she had a face, to be honest with you.
So there you go.
So, yeah, the three of them got in the truck. I brought them home. And again, are you okay? Are you okay? I had wet wipes or whatever. Here, clean yourself up. Do you need first aid? First aid kit over here because I was a Boy Scout. I'm always prepared. So again, nice big tip. They gave me. I did not give them the tip.
Right.
I'm going to leave that at that. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we'll be talking to Rob Gray Fox of Gray Fox Productions because he's got a bunch of stuff coming up. We'll be back in a minute.
Chip on my shoulder, you put it
All right, my night outers. That was 610 Connector. Name of that one was Sugar Bee, or was supposed to be, anyways. Before that was 51 Shortfalls. The name of that one was The Better Part of Me. I don't know what happened to the song. I listened to it the other night, and it was fine. Now it's the abridged version. So, we have in studio Mr. Rob Grayfox.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm going wonderful. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been an adventure, I'll tell you. That's for sure. We've got Northern Ireland Music Under the Pavilion events happening.
Now, first off, you got a few different addresses on this. You're bouncing back and forth between two different pavilions.
There are actually a few more in the works. So it's going to be a weekly rotating venue and artist event.
Okay. So, what are the addresses, first off?
First one we've got, it's happening on Route 44 in historic Chepachet. It's at the Kentfield Pavilion. There really isn't an address for it. If anybody's familiar with Route 44, Potter Chepachet, and everybody knows where the old state police barracks was, well, it's now called the Chepachet Village Wine and Spirits. And it's a Kevin Kitson store, and it's right across the street from that.
Okay. So that's right in the middle of town, really.
Yes, right in the heart of Chepachet.
And the other one you have is in Smithfield.
North Smithfield. Yeah, it's 1600 Victory Highway, North Smithfield, Rhode Island.
So you're not too far from Wright's.
Wright's Farm, right
Wright's
down
Farm.
the street.
Oh, yeah.
Your Uncle Ronnie's, yeah, Lindy's, they're all in that local area.
Well, you have to give me reference by food destinations.
I just gave you a couple more that are pretty good over there. So Lindy's is actually built as another one of my locations that we're waiting for.
Okay. So now, what do you actually have going on? Like,
Every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're putting on live music events where what we're doing is bringing communities and neighbors together with music. That's the whole thing. It came to me in the middle of the night. You know, it's like nowadays nobody knows their next door neighbor.
yep.
When's the last time you actually knew his name or had a conversation or hung out at the park or did something with your neighbors or to know anybody that's in your neighborhood, for that matter?
Oh, the only guy in my neighborhood that I know is my drinking partner who lives next door. So, yeah, I understand where you're coming from with this.
Everybody's digitized, you know. You leave this stuff locked in the car, locked at home. Come out, see some live music.
And what do you have as far as lineups-wise?
For lineups, well, first off, our first show is this Wednesday, the 23rd. It's in Chepachet. We've got Ned Bollea with the Mean Old Fireman. And we've also got James Hotford with Lighthouse. We're going to be doing most acoustic sets. Most of this is live and unplugged. Most of the artists that are coming through. I will be going over a PA. So,
Just screwed you all up, didn't I?
yeah, brain fart. That's all good.
For those of you who don't know what's going on, I just told him to get closer to the mic so you guys can hear him, and by doing that, I just blew his mind. So that was May 23rd, Mean Old Fireman and Lighthouse Acoustic. Then what you got going on?
June 1st is going to be at the Island, 1600 Victory Highway with Nate Cozzolino with and the Lost Arts, Rock and Rogan Company, and Ned Bollea. And then we're going to be going to the 8th, no, June 6th, back to Pavilion in Chepachet on Route 44 with Kenneth Daigle and Rock and Roll and Company.
Okay. So you're basically just alternating the weeks between these two for now. Sponsors, are they going to be vendors set up over there, or are they just sponsoring and they're getting
We have
promotion?
one of our sponsors is actually feeding our artists and musicians pizza and soda. So
All
that's
right.
an every Wednesday thing. It's kind of a plus. We do have some nice art, some good sponsors, local sponsors. For Chepachet, we got our G and Pizza, Chepachet Wine and Spirit, Di Petrillo's Pizza, and those are just a few. Oh, and I've got Classic Cottage Florist also. She just came on board. Thank you, Christine.
So you said this came to you at 2 a.m.
2 a.m, yeah.
Now, I do most of my good thinking right around 7 o'clock in the morning with the morning constitutional. I'm not going to ask you what you were doing, but what was the thought process? Besides, I know you're saying get your neighbors together, but can you get into that a little bit more? Or?
Well, I just pulled out of the club. Everybody that's been, I had a calendar full of artists for the month of March, and I had left the Lith Club, and I told all my artists that I was going to have something up and coming soon.
Yep.
And after I just locked into the Ancients and Horribles parade, which is June 30th, we're going to have 7 live bands playing. That's going to be behind the Gloucester Senior Center in Chepachet, 1210 Putnam Pike. So after I did that, I've been driving around and I see all these pavilions, and nobody's using them. So, and if they are, it's like for a wedding or something. And so I turned around and I was like, I have gear. I know a lot of musicians. Let's see if it works.
Now, do you have to supply your own power too, or
Power is supplied.
Power is supplied. Okay.
The bands will play under the pavilion to keep them out of the weather.
Good.
Yeah.
And what are they? Are they playing for? Pass the hat, or are
Yeah,
they
we have a
taking-
pass the hat, and then once our sponsors start picking up, what I'm looking at is doing a fuel stipend for each member. Somehow, you'll be able to get the artist that'll be playing will get some kind of a fuel compensation, donation to it.
Okay. Are you looking for more going
Always
down the
looking
road?
for sponsors. We're looking for sponsors. We're looking for any new artist that wants to come out. We're open. We are open to support local musicians and artists. I like to stay with the unplugged and live. Got to think again. We're talking about communities and neighbors.
So you're trying to keep this all family friendly.
Correct. Family friendly kids. Yeah. This
That'll-
is how the guy can get out of work at 3:00, go home, and say, "Hey, let's grab the kids and the wife. Let's go grab the blanket and have a picnic. Go listen to a band for the week."
So you're not going to be booking my Marilyn Manson cover band at any of the pavilions?
Oh, that might happen down the line.
Let them get the foothold first before you start scaring more children. And going forward, like you said, you are getting more pavilions. What is your goal? Like 4, 5, 10?
I'd like to go, if I can, Wednesday to Saturday, 4 days a week, my
Okay.
own work week. This is all nonprofit. I'm not getting paid. I'm doing this because I love music. And I love supporting artists and musicians that haven't had a chance to get out there and play for the public. But see, everybody says, well, how much are you paying? Well, it's a pass the hat. And some people don't like to pass the hat. Well, you got to think of another way, too. You could be getting a wedding after this gig. You can get an anniversary party,
Yep.
a reunion. You never know what could happen after this. Plus, I'm paying for all the sponsorship for the advertising in the newspaper. Coming out here doing a radio plug. I'm doing all the booking. I'm talking to everybody. I'm a one-man crew. I wish I had 5 of me and make it a lot easier.
Are you looking for volunteers to help you set up, break down?
Oh, that'd be a wonderful idea. I'd love volunteers.
If someone wants to volunteer, how can they get a hold of you?
Gray Fox Productions, Facebook, Rob Gray Fox, our Gray Fox at Gmail. The Northern Rhode Island Music Under the Pavilion events page on Facebook.
Okay, question now. Now, getting back to the sponsorships, should a business or an individual want to be a sponsor, where does you have a banner with the sponsors on it? How do they get exposure at the event?
What I do is, what I've been asking is, for sponsorships, to get on a banner is a $100 donation. And with that, you also get 2 weeks of advertising on the local papers.
Okay.
To get on a second banner would be an additional $50, and then a monthly, either $25 a week or $100 a month.
Right. So a stage, behind the stage, around the stage type banner.
Correct.
Okay. No, just trying to
Yeah, these are
Get a
the
few
banners are out
details.
within the
Yeah.
town. They're
All right.
distributed on the main routes.
All right. So for $100, that's a bargain.
Right.
That's quite a bit of exposure for $100. I'm glad I asked that.
Yes, definitely.
Hi, George. You thinking about chipping in?
Only if my name's big enough.
Just walk up with a magic marker later and draw it on.
Yeah, we're staying in mom and pop shops with the donation and sponsorships. We're not going corporate. We're not going CVS. We're not doing Walgreens. We're not doing Wally World. We're staying with just the local communities. That's the ideas. Support just the locals.
Well, especially because the corporations have a tendency to want to take it over.
Right. There's too much red tape, and everybody wants a piece of the pie.
Right.
All right. Well, why don't we cut to a break? Actually, we got a double shot band that we stumbled across about a year and a half ago. Name of the band is Adapter. We'll be back in a minute.
Put you in the ground and take your woman for my own. I grow more
squeezing every last second out of that track. That was a double shot of Adapter. The one you just heard was The Seed. Before that was The Path. Both of them, Adapter. Great band. If you ever get to see them, it is only two guys playing. Yeah. So they get a hell of a sound for just a two-guy band. That's why I had to do the double shot tonight.
One for each member.
That's it. Getting back to Mr. Rob Gray Fox.
Hey now.
Gray Fox Productions. Now, you have a sordid past in music. You're not just fly-by-night, just trying to get into promotions.
Now,
You've been doing this.
Ed, is that sordid as in SORDID?
No, I said sullied.
Oh, sullied.
Yes.
Okay, that's not quite as bad as sordid. But
Well, sordid past would mean that, things were of ill repute.
yeah. In other words,
Sullied,
right.
You know, some weird crap happened, but, he made it through and there's nothing too problematic with it.
In other words, Me Too is not going to be after him.
Exactly.
Sordid, yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I see the difference. Okay.
Glad I could clear that up for you.
Down over there. You guys good?
Oh, this is every week we do this. But tell us a little bit about your background in music, because I know you do have a past in music.
Well, we'll leave the past behind, but we'll talk about the music.
Okay.
Starting with Hauling Gear with the Dead, maybe 90, 91. And traveling the country, and then worked with Fish and a lot of other national local acts and Broadways, and about 30 years of my life. So,
Any highlights that you really want to throw out there? Any great stories from the past? I mean,
That you can
you-
tell
I could remember.
that
Well-
you remember, well, for the most part.
Time
and
for the
B,
time for the disclaimer.
whatever happens, you got to keep it family friendly, and you have to change the name to protect the guilty.
And whatever is said on these programs here on Rhode Island Free Radio is for entertainment purposes only.
So if you are absolved of any wrongdoing now. You can tell us a story.
Well, I wasn't really prepared. Let's see here. Talk about being put on a spot.
That's what I do.
Buck Street Manor, that's always a memorable one. Going back to, it's got to be 1985, seeing Max Creek, Reverend Tour, and who else? The Manor was incredible, camping out there for like 4 or 5 days out on the mountain. But at the end of it, everybody left, and we stayed. We stayed Sunday night, and we gathered up all the furniture that everybody had brought, and we had set up this huge pit. And we had lounge chairs and recliners and couches all set up. We're the only ones on the side of the mountain. And it's unfortunately Pete's girlfriend, who went with Pete. Well, she was seeing somebody else in the woods. And we couldn't find her all weekend until Sunday night. She finally came back, and so it was a mystery weekend. Felt bad for Paul, Paul really loved her, but wasn't expecting that.
Things happen when you're in the woods, you're camping, music's playing. Things are gonna happen. I know my wife listens once in a while, so I can't tell you any of the really good stories that I have, at least not on the air, but I can tell you off the air. One thing I can tell you is we are coming close to convention season.
Ooh.
That's right. We have,
Speaking of going in the woods and never coming back out.
see, I'm going to put Tony on the spot now because he is our resident extracurricular activities director. So do we have anything going on for Connecticut Comic-Con, Rhode Island Comic-Con?
Well, the next thing coming up is Joe Bruin's Rhode Island, actually New England now, Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame convention in a few Saturdays, which will be, I think he's promoting as his last one ever. He's really built this up into kind of just like a little small wrestling convention to a well-known, well-respected Hall of Fame.
Nice.
All right, but just keep in mind in wrestling how often individuals retire and then come back. How
They
many
retire
last?
more than Kiss.
So that's the next convention we have looking forward. moving
Yeah,
forward?
yeah.
Because I know the Connecticut Comic Con is rapidly approaching
Yeah, right
as
at
well.
the end of next month, right?
Yeah, at the end, the 30th and the 30th of
it straddles
June,
the month.
1st of July, which I actually might not be able to go to.
I know they just booked Robert England for
Ancient
that.
and Horribles parade. That's in Gloucester, June 30th.
Well-
We got 7 bands coming that day.
I got to go for surgery on my foot.
Oh.
So,
I did something to mine too. I don't know what I did. She's blowing up like a cloud.
Well, there's nothing better for a new foot surgery than is to just walk around a convention all day. I mean, that'll be fantastic.
do you remember last year's convention? I was literally 12 hours out of a colonoscopy, and
And not a voluntary one.
it was it was medical. It was not recreational. But yeah, not even 12 hours, 14 hours after my colonoscopy, I'm at the convention center, walking around, talking to people. It was a little bit surreal. Not to mention, I lost my ass actually. Because
virginity is gone.
no, you have a convention at a casino. You go for a walk. You go to get something to eat. Next thing you know, you're dropping $150 on a slot machine.
Way more than I wanted to that weekend.
Oh no! I thank God I Ubered the following weekend to make up some of what I lost. But all right, we're going to take another break here. When we come back, we're going to recap really quick with Rob, see what how to get a hold of him, and when we get back, of course. And we're going to leave here with a little bit of Sorrow Seed. Now, by the way, if you want to be part of the show, like Rob here, hit me up at mynightoutradio@verizon.net, Facebook /MyNightOut, Twitter and Instagram. You hit me up, DJ Psycho Eddie. Here we go with a little bit of Sorrow Seed. Name of this one is The Apostle Thrall. All right, my night outers. That was Beartooth. The name of that one was Dead. Before that, we had Sorrow Seed, The Apostle Thrall. Wow, feedback.
Where's that coming from?
I don't know. You're the one on the soundboard. Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Tony. Wow, I can hear myself a little too well now. Okay. Again, we have Mr. Gray Fox, Rob Gray Fox from Gray Fox Productions. We have Mr. George Garner and Chuckles the Clown. We will be, well, actually, you guys will be doing your show in just about 9 minutes.
Yeah, actually, we're going to be sitting around the same table, probably talking about the same things. The nature of internet radio is pretty parasitical and latch on. So, if we already have a guest here, why go out and find another one?
Just lock the door.
You're in now.
In about, not next week because we have the holiday. That's right. By the way, next week, it will be, we will not be here because of the holiday. I don't know if you guys are going to be here. I won't be here because of the holiday.
By the way, thank you for reminding me that next week was a holiday because I had absolutely no idea.
Yeah,
No, I don't think any of us did. No.
No.
Well, the only reason I know is because I have Monday off. So,
I don't remember things, so.
but yeah, in 2 weeks' time, I will have another Mike Mora from Roots Revival, band that's going to be playing down, doing a few gigs, more of a reggae sound to him, and we'll be doing some reggae music for next week. But I can't thank you enough for coming down, Rob.
Thanks.
I love having you down. You always have some very interesting, and it's not just one show that you're promoting. You're promoting a bunch.
Yeah.
Right now I'm looking at, 10 shows? And you're...
Yeah, there's 10 right there. Yeah, I've got a
And you're
calendar. We're
expanding.
going all the way till September, June till September, from 5 to 8 p.m. This is an afternoon, late evening, early evening, late afternoon gig.
I might actually have to drag my wife kicking and screaming or otherwise.
Sure, why not? And roll her around in the blanket.
Oh, no, we're old. We bring chairs.
Yeah, so I'd like to give a shout out to a few of my sponsors.
Sure.
GN Pizza, Chipatcha Village Wine and Spirits, DiPetrillo's Bakery, The Juice Box Vape Shop, Classic Cleaners and Gifts, Corkscrew Wine and Spirits, and The Island. We'd like to thank also the Ancients and Horribles Committee for letting my production go on there, and The Island as well. We're also doing 2 shows at Frederickson Farm stand in North Situate on Route 102 and 101, excuse me. August 2nd and June 21st. I've got Tai Chi Funk Squad on June 21st and Jamie Craighead Trio on August 2nd.
Cool. And, Tony, do you got any shows coming up or anything?
No, just the regular stuff.
All righty. Well, guys, I can't thank you enough for tuning in. Once again, if you want to be part of the show, get your promote whatever you got coming on. If you want to be a sponsor of the show, especially, hit me up, mynightout.radio@verizon.net. We'll be more than happy to take care of all your promotional and sponsorship needs. If you want to hit us up on Facebook /MyNightOut. Is it My Night Out? Yeah, My Night Out.
Yeah.
Instagram, Twitter. We do monitor all of the social medias during the show. Unfortunately, no one hits me up during the show. It's usually after. But guys, if you want, if you want to hear something, if you want, want to request some music, definitely hit me up. So, guys, we're going to leave here with a band that I heard again about 8 months ago. The name of this band is Light Sweet Crude. The name of the song is In Dreams. Have a good night, everybody.
And in your eyes, sister, closed off to the world.
Close your eyes, see the shapes before you, dancing with the light. Let them take you someplace, whisper secrets only they can tell. Don't keep it inside. Let them be your guide.
Listen to the sound of footsteps in the dark, to voices that may not be quite human, to the sound of screams in the night. The Haunted Cabaret, the home of all things horror, on Rhode Island FreeRadio.org, with your host, George Garner. The Haunted Cabaret starts now.
Didn't realize
All right, that was Black Sabbath, Sweet Leaf. So this stuff's almost 100% legal now, I think, isn't it?
Cannabis?
Cannabis, weed, whatever we want to call
Sure.
it. Yeah, so not as much fun as it used to be, but still smoke it if you got it.
Okay, if you insist.
This is the haunted.
Gigi number 4?
Wait a minute, I got to introduce the show. See, this, which is kind of strange, because I must be in a really relaxed mood because I got 2 stoners getting ahead of me on my own damn show. But this is the Haunted Cabaret. I'm your host, George Garner, and
Hey, George.
I think I'm outnumbered today because actually we have the same setting around the table as we did for Ed's show. Yeah, so which, like I just said on Ed's show, that's because I'm lazy and parasitical. I mean, if Ed has a guest here already, we're just shutting the door and keeping him here. Why should I go out and find another one?
Why do show prep where you could just say, "Oh, what are you talking about this week?" Boom, done.
You just gave away the entire secret of how I prepare for shows. And I don't know if anybody can pick that up over the air, but there is some kind
Sounds
of.
like a theremin on acid.
It does. There's
That
something
was
going
yesterday.
on. Yeah, there's something going on in the
It would've been
basement.
helpful.
Actually, I'm getting a little bit nervous. That
It's like something
sounds.
from War of the Worlds.
That's why I'm getting nervous. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's going to be a weird one.
It is. All right, Tony, is that being picked up at all? If it
Doesn't look like it. I gotta find a way to trip the breaker down there or something.
something. Yeah, not that we have anything against weirdness on this show. We just want to be audible. That's, as long as we're audible above the weirdness, we're okay. At least they're not having sex down there. I remember last time they were.
Again.
Huh?
Again.
Oh, yeah. No, last time they were having sex down there, the bellowing was louder than jamming on their musical instruments. It really was. Somebody must have been getting the fist of glory down there. From the bellowing rose right through the floorboards.
Now, we've talked about it here, but I don't think we ever mentioned it on the air. Next door to us here is a real estate office. This poor guy's trying to close deals, and there's people screaming gay sex in the basement.
Screaming gay sex, alien encounters.
Probe alert.
Yeah, Chuckles. Chuckles the clown. This may be more in your venue. Something needs, especially the alien encounters. There are things going down in the basement of this building that probably warrant.
I know what you're seeking. It has nothing to do with the alien encounters. You were trying to compare me to that movie Vulgar with the clown getting raped downstairs. Oh, yeah. That's what you were trying to do.
Oh, I
That's
didn't.
not what he was trying to do. By the way, you want to see what's going on downstairs?
Not at all.
Yeah, just tell them to.
Walk down the stairs backwards.
Yeah, just tell them to keep it down a little in more ways than one. But yes, but anytime that you want to do a little investigation of those alien encounter noises that we hear once in a while from down in the basement, feel free. I'm not going down there.
I'm not getting probed. I'm not going down there either.
But Chuckles, now you do the paranormal investigations, the paramental investigations.
Yeah.
Come on, you've encountered scarier things than a couple of rabid homosexuals having sex with big-eyed gray space alien probes.
Wait. You have no proof that they're rabid.
Yeah.
I take that back. The alleged,
And I have not.
the alleged participants in the big-eyed alien anal probe experiments going on in West Warwick as we speak. Alleged.
And DJ Psycho Eddie has had the freshest colonoscopy, so we should probably send him down. He's been prepped.
Actually, they can probably take care of that bad foot that you're going to be have taken care of pretty soon,
Well,
too.
if they take care of the colon, I won't worry about the foot, I think. He can't walk, but he can't sit either.
Wow, the noises have stopped.
They're listening in.
That wouldn't surprise me. That would not surprise me one bit. In the meantime, in the blessed silence, though, or the accursed silence, whichever way it goes, a couple of subjects. First of all, yes, we do have in the studio Rob Gray Fox,
Hey.
a man of many talents. Now, some of us here are performers, some of us are entrepreneurs, some of us are promoters, Some of us do marketing. This man does all of the above. So what we're going to do is I want to touch base with a couple of subjects dear to my heart for maybe 10 minutes or so, put on a music track, and then we're going to have a conversation with Rob, and we're going to, and also like include Chuckles, Tony, and Ed on this one, because on Ed's show, you spoke to Rob about specifically his projects and things that are going on.
Yeah.
What I'd like to do is all of us and pretty much everybody in the entertainment field complain about the aggravation and difficulty of getting people involved. In other words, how do you get them away from that flickering screen in front of in their bedroom or their parents' basement and get them to come out to live events? Well, we have a group. Everybody in this room is in some way, shape, or form involved in doing that. I mean, when does this happen? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's rare to get this many people with the same or similar skill set.
Right, interested in donating their time and effort. Not me. I want to get paid.
Here we go again.
But
We
everybody
all want to get paid.
But everybody else is more open-minded and good-hearted and altruistic, including Chuckles the Clown. I don't care what he says about evil. This man is in bad books with the Evil Clown Union. The man commits too many charities. The man commits too many actions of good intent. So they're still after you, and they should be.
Maybe that's who's coming through the basement.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that is the
We
gap.
have a teleporter going on now.
I'm thinking the between the dimensions. They're basically coming to drag somebody away, and it won't be me.
Union 666.
Yeah.
I'm going to crap in a balloon in a second and throw it down there just to hit someone with a crappy balloon.
Again, don't walk down there backwards.
Yeah.
And don't walk down there.
My only question is, do you fill it, then inflate it, or inflate it, then fill it?
Yes.
I don't think you want to fill it then inflate it because there might be some blowback.
All right. Two quick subjects. One, Chuckles, Toho monster movies, otherwise known as Kaiju. You told me that there's no sequel to Shin Godzilla
Right.
in the works, that's been canceled, and they're going back to the regular Kaiju universe, otherwise known as Godzilla, Rodan, Ghidorah, and the rest. But that's not going to happen till after the American Godzilla 2 and King Kong versus Godzilla. Is that true?
That's what it looks like. That's what the news report looks like. It says not until 2021.
Okay, I hope we all live that long. And
Yeah.
with the alien presence down below us, I don't know.
Now, does that go back to the days of the Creature Double Feature Godzilla?
Exactly,
Oh,
exactly. See, Toho is the Japanese studio that created the original Godzilla back in 1956. And yeah, they've had, and money talked, and so they've produced a Godzilla movie pretty much almost every year since then. There was a couple of breaks in the action for a couple of years, but yeah, so that's, and then naturally, the American studios saw a good thing, and the American studios produced a Godzilla movie in 1998, which nobody liked. Then Toho went back to doing their streak. Then 2014, American studios produced another Godzilla, which some of us liked and some of us didn't.
Don't forget 98.
I said 98. I thought I just
He started with it.
Did you?
I think I just
Oh,
did,
all right.
Chuckles.
Sorry about that. I'm getting mesmerized by this stupid machine down here.
There is a glazed look in your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has nothing to
If
do
you-
with marijuana either.
If you get up and start walking out of the room, Tony Jones will tackle you and prevent you from leaving the room.
Good, please
And going
do.
No, he
downstairs.
After you beat the hippies.
Hey, let him go. Bring the camera along and let the comedy ensue.
We'll call it Meeting the Extraterrestrial Hippies. But yeah, so basically, what we have to look forward to is plenty of Godzilla, King Kong, and Kaiju, right? Because we're going to get the two American ones, which will probably suck. But, I mean, we're hoping for the best, but they probably will. King Kong versus Godzilla, we've been trying to handicap that for a while. But we're very afraid, right, of a team-up
Yep.
rather than a fight to the finish. I mean, that's really what Godzilla fans and Kong fans are worried about. So then Godzilla Part 2 is probably going to be tied in somehow, Part 2 being the Part 2 of the American Godzilla from 2014, will probably be tied in somehow with King Kong versus Godzilla at Skull Island. Something tells me that's where all the giant monsters for both movies are going to come from. Because there was that line in Skull Island that said Kong is the gatekeeper that keeps all the other creatures down there.
All right.
So we got that to look forward to. I don't know, Rob.
Yes.
you in this coming showdown, hoping it is a showdown, fight to the finish. Kong rooter or a Godzilla rooter?
Oh, Godzilla.
Yeah, me too.
Go. They say he's got to go. Go, Godzilla.
Blue Oyster Cult. One of my favorite bands, by the way. A band that doesn't get too much mention today, but they deserve it.
Saw him last year.
Yeah, they're still in there. They're still hanging in. They're still kicking
Twice,
around.
They're on perpetual tour.
They are. Of course, it was Buck Dahmer that passed away,
Yeah.
right? So it's not going to be the Blue Oyster Cult
Right.
back in the 70s. But in other words, they're still in there fighting. So as long as they don't do any sequels to the song Godzilla, we don't need that.
No.
No, all right, so we have quite a few Godzillas to look forward to. The other thing I wanted to ask is, now I was doing some yard work, as Tony says, living the great American dream. I was working around my house in my yard this morning. I got bitten by a large, painful spider. Now, does this mean I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning with the proportional strength and abilities of a spider?
Cool.
Or is that
Only if it's radioactive.
only if it's radioactive?
Yeah, got to be radioactive. Doesn't count.
Okay, well, the neighborhood I live in is pretty much what do they call it? The brown zone from industrial pollution, from years ago.
Hanging out
So
with the recluse.
yeah, so
Or wood spider.
I don't know. I mean, process of elimination says it wasn't a black widow and it wasn't a recluse because this happened in the bright
He still has his hand.
in the
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
bright in the
nothing-
bright
Both of them are off the charts there.
right, and it happened in the bright sunny morning. In other words, it was out in the open. I mean, recluses are recluses for a reason. Black widows hide in so
Damp, dark, cold
dark
area.
places. So
Not
it
cold,
was none of the above. And here's
But
my
you're,
hand.
but you're still digging in dirt or whatever.
Right, and
So,
right. So it's possible though that it's polluted soil, but radioactive. I don't know. So I might wake up looking more like the Toxic Avenger.
cool.
See, I was just thinking either that or Sergeant Kabuki Man.
Yeah,
Well, any one of the trauma
yeah,
characters.
yeah. A far cry from Peter Parker and Marvel Spider-Man.
Yeah, no. I don't see you getting all buff and climbing walls.
No.
No, actually,
I was thinking you're going to wake up and be like Draws in a paralyzed state of mind and body.
thanks. You want my show? Did you plant the spider too?
Oh, no. That one wasn't me. Maybe it was the guys downstairs that did that.
It's a robotic spider.
Oh well, so I think all this changing into a superhero from being bitten by anything is a lot of bullshit. I mean, yes, I was bitten by my pet iguana. I didn't turn into an iguana. I mean, so I just think it's a bunch of nonsense. When you really
Well,
come down to it,
let's
it hurt
not-
for a
let's
little
not
while.
overlook it.
I put some alcohol on it. I put some ointment on it, and it's gone. Right? I'm not going to turn into anything.
The
You would
very,
have turned already.
the very
You would have turned
primal.
at midnight.
I would think.
You would have turned at midnight.
Well, it only happened this morning, so
Oh, you still
Oh,
got
so you
about
still have to do it
5
overnight.
hours.
I still haven't
well,
seen.
You
the
still have to
overnight.
do the overnight.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because
yeah.
everyone doesn't change during the day. It's always at night when they go to bed. That's when the weird stuff happens.
Right, but my point is that I was bitten by my iguana during the day, and I didn't change into anything overnight or otherwise. It's been 10 years, and I
Well,
still have.
again,
I'm still a bloated, out of shape human.
Well, let's not overlook this. Look at what the lizard part of the brain, the human brain, has the lizard part, which is also known as the primal brain.
Yeah.
If you can't eat it, if you can't have sex with it, you crap on it and you walk away.
That does describe somewhat my personality.
So you don't know. You might be Iguana Man and you just don't realize it.
So I could be showing more reptilian tendencies and not realize it because
It could be a slow process. We might have to
Could
stress
be looking
you out.
like a Stacy Keach, from Cheech and Chong in about 5 more years.
okay, so it's only a matter of my tongue becoming forked and I'm good to
Right.
go.
What if you're walking through Kennedy Plaza and you get bit by a homeless person? Do you become a homeless person?
That's a fate worse than death. I'd rather not. Some things are too horrible
Just
and
lay down
vile.
on a park bench?
Well, depends. If they have teeth, that would be one problem.
That's true. That would be gumming you down.
Well, actually, maybe they're like Komodo dragons. The saliva is poisonous.
Right?
Right, so even without teeth, they can get their,
Exactly. They
if
just have
there's-
to break the skin and the saliva gets in.
Right, if the saliva
Next
gets
thing
into
you
them.
know, you're sitting there with a tin cup trying to sell pencils.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but actually, the panhandlers in Providence aren't they doing pretty well now?
Yeah, they are.
I
30
mean-
grand a year.
Yeah, I mean, you hand them a dollar bill nowadays. They take out their wallet. There's 3 credit cards in it, and they slip it in the bill with the other 20s. Right. So, yeah. I'll tell you, it's not a bad job to be in. I mean, so I was in Las Vegas, several years ago. And I was in a taxi heading to who knows where, and we stopped at a light, and the panhandler was at the light naturally, and so he comes over, and the taxi driver shakes his head no, and we keep going. He says that guy. He says, last time I gave that guy $1. He said he took out a wallet, a leather wallet. The kind of wallet that you would see somebody like, I don't know, Donald Trump or one of those rich businessmen take out, right? Leather, crocodile skin or whatever it is, alligator skin wallet. He says he opens it. It's got like 5 compartments for credit cards, and it's already overstuffed with money. He stuffs in the taxi driver's dollar among the 10s and 20s. So he said, and think about it. He said, now, well, granted, it's Las Vegas. Providence isn't Las Vegas. But he says, think about it. If that guy stands out there, and let's say how many cars go by in a day? I don't know. He used the 10,000 because it was Las Vegas. But even if it's 1,000, right? If 1% give that guy a bill of any kind, that's a good living.
There used to be a guy on the way to Firehouse 13 that would be, his panhandling was he would dance on the side.
Right.
If you couldn't keep up that amount of cardio to dance for 8 hours, why don't you get a job?
Well, that's his job. Well, he's the dancing panhandler to offset the dancing cop.
Right.
Well, if you go back, I want to say about 5 to 10 years ago, I think it was Channel 12 did an expose on some of the panhandlers, and there was a panhandler who would walk around in a bathrobe, curlers in her hair, hairnet. He would yell at people, was very rude, but would panhandle. And at the end of the day, they followed her. She got into her Mercedes, went into her house on the east side of Providence, and it turns out her husband's a lawyer or something like that. And she only did it for free time, to occupy time to deal with people. And
Now, is that an urban legend or is that
no, this is
true?
fact.
Fact.
It was on, I believe it was Channel 12 News did the expose.
Huh. Okay, so it just goes to show.
Panhandlers live better than we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty soon the lawyer's going to quit his job, right?
Well, again, being 12 years ago.
Well, it's kind of like in pro wrestling, right? George the Animal Steel. He was billed as a
school teacher.
Right, he was
teacher.
He was billed as a subhuman, but there was more than met the eye
Yeah,
there.
he was actually an MIT professor.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
It's
Big Van Vader's a CPA.
Yeah, so if
When Chief Jay Strongbow got busted behind the Xavier side and smoking pot.
right, so if a man with all the appearances of a Cro-Magnon or Neanderthal, is an MIT professor, right? It doesn't surprise me one bit that a panhandler would be,
Hey, more money than
One
we
of the
do.
1%.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's probably the next step. Our next president will be one of the 1%, and coming from the panhandle population of a sanctuary city, probably.
Great way to raise donations.
Yeah, huh?
Okay, let's raise the IQ of this show a little bit while we're at it, if that's possible. Let's go back to the music.
I'll leave.
Well, no, Tony, you're the only one that can't
That's
leave.
true. Never mind.
Yes, because I can't run that board. But yes, if you do run the board for the rest of the show, how about some Alice Cooper, $1 Billion Babies, here on the Haunted Cabaret on Rhode Island Free Radio.
If I'm too rough, tell me I'm so scared. You're to let me come off in my
All right, that was Alice Cooper, $1 Billion Babies, off one of Alice Cooper's best albums. Right, Chuckles?
$1 Billion Baby, good album.
All right. Now, what I wanted to talk about before we got any further in the show, and because it would be very easy for me just to, just wing it and ramble right through the entire hour.
Ooh, shiny thing.
That comment was. I know the context of that comment. I'm not. Ooh.
That comment was brought to you by Gray Fox Productions.
Ooh, blue paint. No, what I wanted to bring up in all seriousness, for a little while serious anyway, is that I mentioned to the guys before the show started that I look around the room, and we're in a very unusual situation here. I'm looking at 4 people, 5 if I loosely include myself, who are involved in entertainment, marketing, performing, basically trying in this 21st century to get people out of their parents' basement, out of their bedrooms, out of their living rooms, and participating in some kind of live events.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I mean, it should, because, Rob, you are a guy now. What's your list of credentials? Let's see. Performer, sound guy, promoter, roadie, engineer. Yeah. So basically, you have made your life around music.
Arts, yeah.
The music and the arts.
Yeah.
Chuckles, the immortal Chuckles the Clown, a host of the Chuckles and Laugh Show, one of the most iconic characters at Comic-Con. And by the way, that's not much of an exaggeration anymore. Chuckles, we finally made Chuckles admit it, that he is more looked for than a lot of the so-called celebrities at the conventions now.
Which, by the way, the celebrities hate.
Yeah.
Yes, well, celebrities hate being replaced by a celebrity. I mean, that's how you know you're a celebrity, when others hate you. And then we have Ed, My Night Out show, trying to get people to go to restaurants, trying to get people to go to concerts, trying to get people to
just
go.
Get out of the house.
Get out of the house. And, of course, Tony Jones, the man of music, production. Actually, if we do Tony Jones's credentials, we'll be here for the rest of the show.
It's only an hour show. So.
It's only an hour show. So, Tony Jones, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I'll ask Rob, because he's the fellow that's not usually here at the table.
Hello.
Why do you bother? I mean, now I understand. I like listening to the stereo. I like playing out sometimes. I like live music. But in Rhode Island, in New England, in this state of apathy, you continue full time to try to get people to step outside and make themselves known in front of live entertainment.
Sure.
Why? I mean,
for the love. It's a passion. It's more of a hobby.
Yeah, it's a-
you know, it's a
I'm-
deep
yeah.
hobby. That's
It better be pretty effing deep.
You know,
the
so-
amount that you put in. See,
I
see,
have the gear, so why let it sit in the closet?
See, but that's
You know, and I
not.
have the knowledge and I have
Right.
the wisdom, and you know, I know the people. So if I put them all together, and then we can grab all you folks.
It's almost like you have to do what you do.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
sleep, so
Now, see, that's why I pressed you a little bit on it, because it's easy to say, okay, you know, we love music, I love music, we love, but yeah, that's a little bit more than the Call of Duty what you do. I mean, it really is. I mean,
I've had 3/4 of my spine reconstructed. That's why I'm not sitting down.
that's okay. You can stand over me and try to intimidate me.
You know, so I deal with a physical thing, all aspect, you know, but it's the music that keeps me moving. Or else I'd be at home, I'd be on the couch, or I'd be in the bed. You know, I haven't taken narcotics in over 2 years. You know, I'm a cannabis, medical marijuana user, and but you know, it's the only thing that keeps me going is the music. You know, I know who's coming, but my whole thing is, you know, being behind the board, I get to look out at the audience, and if I see the audience dancing and grooving and having a good time, and they're just watching the artist on the stage, well, I'm the one that's making them sound good for you guys to have a good time. So, and I'm putting this production on for the people.
And one of the things I notice about Rob and your approach to things is, now it seems like, if at a casual look, that around here nowadays we have a lot more talented performers than we do venues,
Yes.
right? But now, and when we say venues, I mean, you know, clubs per se. I mean, you know, like concert clubs.
Nobody wants to
bar-
pay for the bands anymore
Right.
because they all want, can you bring a following? Well, if you pay us this much, we'll pay people to come. You know,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
but if you hire, so now the band comes in, right? They say, oh, we'll give you $500 for the band, no
Right.
problem. You know, and then 10 people show. If the venue already doesn't have a hosted establishment of food or something to back it up and have people there already, it's not going to do very well.
Right, and I think that's because I've said this before, and every now and then I'm tempted to put my own money and effort into things and prove my point. I've said before that the reason that this situation exists is that the club owners, the management, don't comprehend how to keep a club ongoing as far as interest. Because I'm thinking back the days of my childhood, back when, let's see, Randy Heen, if anybody.
Bless his soul.
Right, and Randy Heen's, the thing with him, with the living room, and that's what we're talking about, is Randy Heen's living room, is that I remember as a kid that me and my friends, when we were looking for something to do, we'd say, what do you want to do? Okay, want to do the music. Let's go to, okay, we'll go to the living room. Now, here's the thing. We didn't know who was going to be playing that night.
Right.
But we knew that if we went to the living room,
There was always music.
there was always music, and there was always something that we wanted, that we would enjoy listening to, and we could always have a good time there. And there's a couple of other, you know, like Rich Lupo through the
Right.
years, he's the same way, and there's, you know, a couple of other.
Same
you know,
thing with Safari Lounge. How many times did we
That's-
practice
that's-
and say,
that's
let's
the
go
other
to
name.
Safari?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy at Safari Lounge. That's the other name I was trying to think of. Thanks, Tony.
We knew
Ronnie Oakes from the old Backstreet Bar and Grill.
we knew the beer was cheap. We knew there would be no cover to get in, and we just went.
Right, and supported the place.
Right.
Right, and see, and that's what these, I guess, corporate or modern day or, I don't know, club owners, managers don't get. They start every night at a zero-sum game. They start every night at zero. In other words, there is no regulars. There is no atmosphere around of, hey, we feel like doing something tonight. Okay, let's go to, you know, fill in the blank. You know, the beer's cheap. The bands will be good. We don't know who they are. We don't care. We're going to go there.
Right.
That's what we're missing in the state of Rhode Island.
And even if the bands weren't good, it was so cheap to go that you didn't have any skin in the game. If they sucked, you had one beer and you left. You know?
Or you had several beers and then they started to sound better.
We're awesome.
I mean, we could turn a lousy band into a great one. I mean, over the course of about 3 hours.
That's why they made a delay unit or a reverb.
Yeah.
Little chorus in there. Too.
Having played both sides of that fence, as far as doing the production, I did sound over at Blazes for almost 3 years, 2.5 years, and I would look out and there'd be a really good band but didn't have much of a following. but Blazers didn't have the cover most of the times, except for some of the bigger bands that came through. The Bears were relatively cheap. And you knew there was always going to be fun. There wasn't going to be a problem.
Right.
And then, like George was saying, I would go there on my nights off because I knew there would be some stupidity going on, some show, karaoke, whatever. But the drinks were cheap, and it was a local place you could support.
Right.
You don't have the locals. I don't want to say locals only, but you don't have a lot of venues now where the locals support it like they did not even 5 years ago.
Right.
You don't have that.
See, there's a trend of 20 years that goes around. It happens in clothing. It's happening in music. And it goes back into food. Every 20 years is a loop of rotation where things are coming back. Say like corduroys. Every 20 years, corduroys came back. They went out again. But they came back.
Right.
The blue jean came in. The fitted jeans. Just one of the many points. But
So do you think that? So what you're saying is, do you think that entertainment trends are circling around? That will still circle back? In other words, we're going to go back to that neighborhood club, that locals club that everyone remembers so fondly.
Well, that's one of the things I'm also in the works of doing. Come hopefully September, October. Is have another venue up in Northern Rhode Island for artists to come and play. So I'll keep you updated on that.
All right, one thing I noticed, Rob, is now Rob was talking on Ed Show. You wanted to definitely download that one and listen to that one too. Besides this one, because the two shows fit together. Because we're both talking to Rob about different aspects of his career and the scene. Now, Rob, one answer to people saying, "Well, there's not enough clubs to play." Now, Rob, you're not necessarily booking people into the traditional,
No,
living
this is
room,
outdoors and
alchemy. Right, you're doing a whole different thing. There's other places for live music to be heard than just an indoor club on Friday night.
Right.
So, tell us about that.
This is a free event for neighbors and communities to get together, and it starts Wednesday, May 23rd, in Chepachet, and we'll go all the way to September. This is a thing to bring neighbors and communities together, So grab a blanket, grab the family, 5 to 8. You'll have some free live music. It'll be a pass the hat event, a couple of buckets out there. Throw your rocket chains into it,
All right, so basically this is music outdoors.
Correct.
Bring your blanket, bring your beverages.
Yeah.
And
I'll bag it across the street.
Right. And
or the venue that serves.
Now, and this is a tradition that's this is a tradition that's probably older than the Friday night at the club.
Right. Oh yeah.
Right. Entertainment outdoors.
I was actually looking for a barn. That was what I was originally looking for. Is do like an old barn hop.
That would be the only thing cooler than the pavilion.
Yeah. I'd like to. And I live out in the woods enough where I think I'd be able to find one. Do a Friday and a Saturday live music at the barn.
Right. And it seems like it's early on in the process, but you've had some great response to that too, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I've got bands locked in. I can't wait. We've got everything from a Johnny Cash tribute, Leonard Skinner tribute. We've got local artists, Nate Casalino, Rock and Roll Evans, Jesse and the Hog Brothers. You want some cowpunk? Screw Top Somalias, Kingston Throwdown, Tipperary Road, and that's just a few of them that are coming. Lighthouse. We got Kiefer Pez and Jonah Phantom. It's a really good early lineup right now. Every Friday it's going to be at the Island, starting June 1st, 1600 Victory Highway, North Smithfield, Rhode Island, right on Route 102. You'll see the banners out there as you're driving on either right or left side, whichever way you're going, north or south.
Right, which just goes to show now, if you have a band, if you're in a band, if you're a performer, and you're whining about there's no place to play, yes, there is. I mean, there always is. I mean, Tony and I with the Cretan 3, we played plenty of clubs. We've also played at
art galleries, parking lots, weddings,
the perishable theater when it was down in Providence, VFWs, the car rallies. There are places to play.
Dumps.
Right. You just have to check your ego. It's I'm thinking of an old time singer called Bessie Smith. I think I got the name right. She got famous like back in the beginning of the 20th century singing God Bless America. Is it Bessie Smith? Because I want to quote somebody, and I don't want to get the name wrong, but if I get it wrong, what are you going to do? But what she said was, they said, how did you get started? How did you get to a, iconic status? She was just singing everywhere I could. Yeah. Not singing in preferred places, not singing in places with a dressing room, not singing in places that paid, in other words, that's all good. I mean, if you get to change up in a dressing room, that's a luxury. If you get paid, that's an even bigger luxury. But performing any place I could. And if you take that to heart, I mean, you will put your music out there. You will put yourself
It
out
leads
there.
to other things.
That's exactly it. I mean, Rob's the guy to tell
Paid
you.
advertising also. It's going in the papers. Paid social media. It's blowing up bigger than I thought it would.
That's a good
people
thing.
People are already talking about, well, what are you going to do for next year? And I'm like, well, I got to get through this one first.
Right. Right. So we have promoters and performers. They don't know where they're going to play next week. But Rob is Gray Fox is like he's having to think about next year already, and the summer's not even underway.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can be done.
Yeah.
So that's the
only other thing I could add into that, with very little exception, I have never said no.
right either to
I mean,
either sexual encounters, alcohol.
Well, I'm referring to playing out and bookings and stuff like that.
Right.
I've played some real crappy places. I've played some really nice places. Thank God for the midday social, just getting my name out there. I got a lot of contacts that way.
And the important thing is you showed up at the midday social.
Yeah.
So that's
you always
right.
bring your merch with you. Always bring merch with you.
Yeah.
Some kind of
hand
card
out a couple of cards, T-shirts, whatever. People get to know you midday, any type of networking event. Don't scoff at it. And I am living proof. You go to the midday social. I was doing 1 gig a month, maybe 1 gig every other month with the Chuckles and Laughs show, and then it picked up from there. Then I started booking at Blazes, and then I got so busy playing I didn't have a chance to book anymore. I'm still thinking about doing a few more bookings, but that's in the future.
All right. And the other thing, and the final thing, now you mentioned the Chuckles and Laughs show, which brings us to another point. If you're a performer and you can't find a place to play for some odd reason, despite of everything we're telling you, do it yourself.
Right.
I mean, just set up somewhere, like find a broken down
VFW
room.
halls are 100 and change for a night.
Yeah, and just tell your friends bring your own, or else the VFW. If it's the
VFW?
VFW,
Yeah, they've always got beer.
cheap drinks.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean,
we'll rent you this place.
right. Yeah, they might not your friends might not give a rat's ass about listening to you, but they do respond to the call of cheap beer.
Yeah.
And now Chuckles, you did that for years.
Yep.
Right? The Chuckles and Laugh show. I mean, Creed 3 appeared on your show. Some legendary bands like Your Mother's Crotch,
I love
Johnny
that.
Earthquake.
Johnny Earthquake,
Head Cutters,
Head Cutters.
Oh crap!
the Anagram.
Right. And
Yeah.
the point is, Chuckles, that this took place not in an arena that you booked, not in Lupo's or the Stand or the Strand, or this took place in the garage at your house.
Yeah.
I mean, Chuckles, you conducted your show and you had rock concerts in your garage.
Cool.
Yep.
Nice.
Right?
Very nice.
Right, so Rob has the outdoor pavilions and soon to be barn as soon as he finds the right one for the outdoor on the blanket.
Yeah.
Chuckles, the garage. It can be done.
Oh yeah.
He says with such enthusiasm. No, see, Chuckles has probably the bad memory of the night that you had booked Your Mother's Crotch and it rained.
Well, I have no bad memories about that. That was all pleasantry. Although there was some compliments that came in.
Right. Well, no, there was some nervousness because if you remember, that day was a combination of, I think, the Chuckles and Laugh show. I forget why the kids were on the show, but there was something to benefit for the kids. Then you were also filming the concert with the Cretin 3 and Your Mother's Crotch. Now,
yes,
th-
yes.
now, your Mother's Crotch, in case anyone hasn't seen or heard of that band, they're cross-dressers.
Right.
So,
Only the lead singer.
is it only the lead
Yeah,
singer?
Only the lead
Paul.
singer.
Right. And the lead singer looks like a dude who just escaped from the penitentiary. And,
and not minimum security like the real penitentiary.
right. And he's wearing a dress. Also on Chuckles' property that night, we have the Cretan Three featuring like Tony Jones.
Various characters.
Various characters. Chuckles' regular show staff dressed up as various zombies, cat people, and in the midst of all this, we had a giant bald penitentiary trained crossdresser, as Tony said at the time, and a giant. Not Andre the Giant, but close. Bunch of punk rockers, a bunch of people in leotards, and a bunch of little kids running around.
Good times.
For sure.
It was.
It was, actually. Except for a couple of the songs.
Only two of them.
But those are the ones that had Chuckles sweating and looking up and down the road. Let's see.
One of them is what got us shut down, I believe.
Yeah, I do remember the knock on the door that I thought was the police. The shut up and my penis song that was going across the lawn.
Also, another part of that day is the fact that YMC brought the equivalent of a PA that could be used to play a small arena.
Oh yeah,
and set it up in the garage.
So it went 2 neighborhoods, probably about 4 or 5 neighborhoods down.
Yeah, that went over town lines.
Yeah, and when I say neighborhood, I mean this man lives in the suburbs. This all took place in a suburban environment where the houses are maybe 20 feet from each other.
Right.
Just as a matter of fact, the first time I went to Chuckles' property, for probably I forget whatever reason, I knew I was in the right place because I saw this half-naked woman in a black leotard with a cat mask, a cat zombie mask, running through the backyards.
Wow.
And I said, must be. It's either the right place or the zombie apocalypse has begun, and these people just don't know about it yet. Good times. All right, Tony. Well, now on the playlist we have something called. What do we have in the? I think we have Nightwish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Because I know sometimes on this show and on others we've been the victim of some of those early CDs that you rip from, but they've scrambled the codes for the tracks just to aggravate the rippers. So I think we've got this one right, though. This should be Nightwish, Sin After Sin, here on the Haunted Cabaret on Rhode Island Free Radio. All right. So that's Nightwish, Sin After Sin. And we seem to be cutting through a show after show because we're almost out of time again. Actually, we only pretty much have time to thank our guest, Rob Grayfox.
Thank you. Thanks for having
As
me.
well as Ed for sticking around, Chuckles for sticking around, Tony on the board, helping us out as usual. I'm your host, as always, George Garner. And I think I'm just going to leave it there because in the playlist, we have Goat Whore listed up next, and we only have 5 minutes for the show. So a 4-minute Goat Whore song, 30 seconds of my bullshit. That I think that's the best way to end this show, especially when Goat Whore is an end to nothing. So, here's the end of the show, an end to nothing. Here's Goat Whore on the Haunted Cabaret on Rhode Island Free Radio. Nighty night.